if you want or need more additional details, you can go to the video on Miriam and Mike Rinder for any more details. I will presuppose some of the basics and we will get into the letter and I think the larger picture of what is occurring with Mike Rinder and quote, the ex-Scientology community. So essentially, Rabbit communicated with Rinder, and Rinder's lawyer, to be fair, sent a fairly awful letter in response. But I want to push back against Rabbit a little bit. I think Rabbit didn't quite understand what the letter was trying to say. She took it as this direct insult to her, and I'm sure that was part of it. But I think she's missing the real issue, which is that Rinder is associating her with Aaron, and I'm sure he doesn't want to answer the questions, to be fair. So the letter is asking, will you answer these questions about the case of Miriam and what happened with her in the church? And Rinder's lawyer is saying, no, that's presupposing that Rinder is morally questionable, so we're not going to answer the questions, and we don't want to have any more communication with you. But again, I'm sure legally, maybe Rinder is worried that he might get entrapped. Maybe. I think the real dilemma here is with Aaron, and frankly, he wants to silence Aaron, but Aaron is too big and popular on YouTube, so he can't do that. What he's trying to do is create an echo chamber with himself and the Headleys, and to be fair, it's not a complete OSA echo chamber. They do allow some dissenting people like Kelly Copter and a few other people, and Claire did platform Miriam, but it seems very clear it's all about protecting Mike Rinder, and I'm going to be brutally honest, this will include Leia. I'm not sure why Leia is protecting Mike Rinder so much. I would assume that, like the narrative they gave out of how he heroically left Scientology and is exposing David Miscavige has too many gaps. So they want to make it look good as possible that he's been bravely standing up to David Miscavige all these years. So yes, his time in OSA is controversial. He did many questionable things. But as far as I know, his only official apology was to John Sweeney, a British journalist, and that's good, better than nothing. But for the most part, he's just given very vague apologies to his past victims. And again, even after he left Scientology, he actively attacked a lot of ex Scientologists or critics of Scientology because he didn't find them useful. So I think Rabbit is being, frankly, a little naive. What I think this is about is two things. Yes, it's a legal issue because Mike Rinder was the head of OSA, so he is probably guilty of many, many things. The amount of guilt he has is probably extraordinary. He's probably committed an insane number of crimes. So there is that legal issue. But I think more specifically, this is a Hollywood narrative branding issue. Leia and Mike Rinder have created a brand, and I can understand to some extent. Leia wants to protect the brand. I understand all that. However, Rinder is, to put it mildly, becoming a liability. So I think he's just doing damage control. He's concerned that the people in Hollywood, his publishers and others, they're happy. So he wants to maintain a good image for them. So it's not about him being a good guy or doing the most for the ex-Scientologist. It's about looking good for a certain amount of people. Now, it might seem a little puzzling because Rabbit has a bigger platform on YouTube. That's true. Aaron has a bigger platform on YouTube. But I'm sure at this point Aaron knows a few people in Hollywood. But my guess is Rinder wants as big a monopoly. He wants to be known as the mainstream voice, the mainstream spokesperson for the ex-Scientologist community, and that's what he thinks should be his natural leadership post, and he's going to protect that at all costs. If Miriam is not helping with that, or Rabbit, or Aaron, or me, or Serge, or whoever, he doesn't have time for us. He's concerned with this level of fame, this level of recognition. That's what his concern is. He's not concerned with helping people. there is probably also a legal issue. He doesn't want to get into trouble. That's probably true too. But I think mainly it's about maintaining this branding with some Hollywood people he's met, and he wants to maintain that relationship. So, for all we know, there's just a lot of deals going on behind the scene, and he's concerned that those deals keep going through. He keeps making money that way. But there is something pretty ethically disturbing behind all of this because in the letter, he's saying that, well, it's not just him. The Aftermath Foundation is being called into question, which is pretty incredible. And this is more OSA like because that's not your foundation. Aaron made the foundation. Aaron founded the foundation. It's not your foundation. You stole the foundation. You literally stole this foundation. And now you're using the name of the foundation to protect yourself. And it's kind of like, wait a minute. You stole this and you're using this as a shield to protect yourself. So this is beyond crazy that he's assuming we need to have good faith about his moral character and the character of the foundation, but you're the head of the foundation because you stole it. So it's just a very Orwellian universe he's created for himself, where he's created this phony set of facts and this phony set of institutions to protect himself. And if you're not part of his bubble, you'll realize what he's doing, and you realize he's kind of being a Nazi clown. There's no nice way of putting it. He's gone full Nazi clown. And if you want to be part of his circus, you better, learn how to play with the Nazi clown man. I'm not interested in being a Nazi clown, so, we probably will not be talking anytime soon. But I think Rabbit is not understanding. He's not really directly addressing her or even Miriam. They don't matter to him. That's not the issue. The issue is maintaining the brand, maintaining his reputation, and maintaining his good relationship with Leia. I think that's the real puzzle is this is going to get back to her. This is making her look bad. Like, how does he think this is going to work with her? So I don't know. But I think that's what he's concerned with. That there's this big community in Hollywood of ex-Scientologists. And they are critical of Miscavige, but they want to be careful with those people and their reputations. And they don't want to disturb those reputations. So they're willing to criticize Scientology, but within a very, very small parameter. And unless you understand that, you're not going to be welcome in his community. So he's willing to take a lot of hits, but at the end of the day, I guess he thinks this Hollywood brand he's created for himself is way more valuable and, frankly, way more profitable for him. So if some victims get hurt or they feel left out, well, that's their problem. The concern of Mike Rinder is, as always, for Mike Rinder. And that is the end of the question. For Mike Rinder, anyway.